Two explosions have been heard in the Israeli city of Tel Aviv after air raid warning sirens were triggered. Local media report 2 rockets were fired from the Gaza Strip, which led to the activation of air defence systems in Tel Aviv. The Israeli military reportedly intercepted 1 missile while another fell into an open area. No casualties have at this time been reported. The last time rockets were fired at the Tel Aviv area was back in 2014. OK, let's bring in a guest now. I can speak to Naftali Bennett, who is Israel's education minister and a member of Israel's security cabinet. Appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk about this now. The situation between Israel and Palestine and the problems in the Gaza Strip, obviously great tension. Is this an escalation, in your opinion?
It is. Hamas has been shooting rockets on the southern part of Israel for roughly a year now. And now they've shot 2 rockets on the Tel Aviv area. It's time to defeat Hamas. It's time to demilitarize the Gaza Strip. We are fine with Gaza thriving on a civilian basis, but we cannot accept this ongoing rocket fire on our homes here in Tel Aviv and down in the Negev.
What would you anticipate will be the Israeli response immediately?
Well, I'm not going to share the precise response, but the bottom line is that we left the Gaza Strip about 13 years ago now, and it's the moment we left, they've been shooting rockets at us, so we will not give up any more land. It just doesn't make sense. When we hand land over to the Arabs, they turn it into a radical Islamic terror state. And now it's time to fight back that state, and we will.
Israel has been accused many times of using excessive force while dealing with protesters in that area. Does it surprise you that Palestinians are also using force themselves?
That's utter nonsense. Where do you live, by the way, personally? Do you live in Moscow?
I do. Well, you say it's sort of nonsense. We only have to look back one day to find
imagine rockets
Human Rights
flying
Council.
On Moscow.
UN Human Rights Council saying
how would Putin
that Israeli
respond
military
if rockets,
forces shot
you're avoiding my
Palestinian
question.
Civilians. I'm just asking you that the UN says that unarmed Palestinian civilians were shot by Israeli forces. So are you surprised that there is an aggressive response coming from Palestinians?
No, you're evading my question. What would Vladimir Putin do if Islamic rockets were shot at Moscow? You would totally obliterate those enemies. And that's what Israel needs to do. We have the right of self-defense, and I do not accept any sort of preach from folks on the other side of the world when we're being shot rockets from a piece of territory that we handed over to the Arabs. What I can say is that we won't do that again.
No, certainly no one's trying to preach, and I think everybody understands, no matter what their grasp of the situation in the Middle East, is that the cycle of violence continues, and that one begats more aggression. How is what you're suggesting going to improve that situation?
Well, what you're sort of describing is a two-sided situation where they're aggressive and we're aggressive, but that's not the case. We left Gaza. We want peace. The moment they stop shooting missiles at my children's home and kindergarten is the moment there will be peace. We have no territorial demand over Gaza, and they just need to stop it. If they stop it, there will be peace. That's very simple.
I'd like to talk, if I may, about the BDS, that's Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions movement aimed at isolating Israel. BDS activists, they say that it's a non-violent movement. How else can people express disagreement with the policies of Israel other than boycotting if they feel their other approaches have failed?
You know, anyone can do whatever he wants. This is a movement of anti-Semitism. I don't see any BDS towards any other country in the world. And it's a unique issue to Israel, which is the only democracy in the Middle East. the only democracy, yet the BDS movement is focused on Israel. But that's fine. You know, we are a self-sustained country with high-tech, almost the size of the high-tech in New York, and we're doing fine. If they want to give up GPS systems, if they want to give up our dairy technology, if they want to give up our medical stents in their hearts, that's fine. I don't see that the Palestinians have any major products that we can't do away with.
Everybody's striving for an improved situation, more peace, less aggression, more harmony. Is it possible? We don't know, but Arab Israelis are expressing their anger over Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments on the recent nation-state law that Israel's for Jewish citizens only. Some even call for boycotting the upcoming election. Was that a mistake from the Prime Minister? Did it just deepen the rift in Israeli society?
No, that's not what the Prime Minister said. Just as Russia is the nation-state of the Russians and Britain is the nation-state of the Brits, Israel is the nation-state of the Jews. It does not mean that non-Jews don't enjoy full equal rights. They do. They vote for the Knesset. There's Supreme Court justices who are Arab, and they enjoy full equal rights in Israel, and the Prime Minister said just that. However, Israel remains the nation-state of the Jewish people, and we're very proud of that.
So you're saying it's technically accurate. Could one say it was insensitive at this time?
It's not sensitive at all, quite the contrary. You know, the Jews only have one little state the size of New Jersey. The Arabs have about 22 states, and there's about 1 billion Muslims in the region. We don't have anywhere else to go. This is our home, and we're proud of it. We're proud that we're back home. So there's nothing sensitive about that that would be more sensitive than saying that Russia is the nation-state of the Russian people.
What's the state of the peace process now, and would you say that the Israeli government still supports a two-state solution?
Well, there's an internal debate. I vehemently oppose forming another Arab state within the land of Israel. We already have a failed one called Gaza that's turning Israel into, you know, an area prone for rockets. I'm not about to found another one. These guys just cannot run and manage themselves. These folks certainly have a goal of annihilating Israel, and as long as it's up to me, we will not form another Arab state west of the Jordan River.
Would it be important to make sure that Jewish settlements don't expand any further? Would that send a positive message? No, not at all. I think every state has full rights for its citizens to build new communities, new towns. As long as it's up to me, I would build for Jews anywhere in Israel because it's our home. And I don't think that in France there's any limitation on people to build their homes, on Jews or non-Jews. Yet in Israel there are limitations on Jews where they cannot build. And that's unacceptable. So I think as long as it's up to me, I would build much more and many more Jewish communities within our land. My guest this hour is Naftali Bennett, who is Israel's education minister and a member of Israel's security cabinet. Naftali, thank you very much for your time.